my name is Saul Refutation, and I'll be refuting the claim that Bernie Sanders will not win the Democratic primary election. This claim was made by Catherine, and her secondary claims were that Bernie Sanders will earn more pledged delegates than Hillary Clinton, and that Democratic superdelegate system will prevent Sanders from winning. My counterclaims are that Bernie Sanders still has less pledged delegates, and that the superdelegates can choose to vote differently, which means it is not certain that they will vote in favor of Clinton. Okay, according to the Washington Journal, Bernie Sanders as of right now has only 1,362 pledged delegates to Hillary Clinton's 1,863. This is a difference of 501, and in her argument it was stated that he was only 275 pledged delegates behind. Since then, this number has increased, and it was also mentioned that in primary 2.0, which is from March 16 to June 7, that Bernie Sanders would be getting a lot more support. And June 7 is approaching, and Bernie Sanders is still behind. It was also stated that Sanders is gaining more momentum than Clinton, that he is widely popular with college students and young people, and that they are inspired and passionate of voting. Although this is true, it is important to note that in the past it has been shown that young people are less likely to vote than older people. According to the Washington Post, those younger than 30% accounted for only 22% of the Iowa caucus in 2008. And in this election, it was when more of the young people decided to vote in 2008, and then in the 2012, less young people voted. In addition to the United States Census Bureau, it shows that the number of eligible voters to that of who actually vote is less than 18%. In other words, young voters are undervoted at the polls relative to their eligibility to vote. She mentioned that 19 states were left to vote, but no reason stating why these states would vote in favor of Sanders. Regarding the superdelegates, superdelegates can choose differently to vote. Okay, she said that at the beginning of the race, superdelegates release who they are thinking of voting for. The numbers presented by Catherine said that 469 superdelegates were in favor of Clinton and 31 for Sanders. This supporting evidence only showed that what their initial thought was and not what they would end up voting. Superdelegates can choose to change their vote at any time, and to base their final outcome based on their initial thought seems a little bit flawed. According to the Washington Post, there are 712 unpledged delegates. This would account for almost 30% of 2,382 if rounded up. This is important because the supporting evidence used said that it almost accounted for 40%. And this would only be 30% if rounded up. It was stated that voters don't get to choose who they vote for, and that superdelegates are not obligated to vote in accordance with their state primary outcomes. I don't see how this demonstrates that they will vote in favor of Clinton. And as stated before, even though they already released at the beginning who their initial thought was on voting, they can choose to change their minds at any time. Okay, so in conclusion, I think that the Democratic primary election will be closer and not definitely based on the superdelegate vote. It is also not certain that Bernie will even earn more pledged delegates. As of right now, he's still behind even in pledged delegates. And the superdelegate vote can change at any given time.
All right, you start off pretty clearly identifying the main and the secondary claims. I'm not exactly sure that you get very much by arguing that Sanders will probably have less votes than the advocate presented and less than Hillary has when going into the convention. That denies that first claim, but it seems to support the major proposition, so I'm not sure that that's going to get you very much. I do understand the position that you're taking here. I think the general position ought to be there's still a lot of flexibility in what's going to happen in the Democratic race. That you have more than enough candidates to make up the difference for more than enough delegates to make up the difference for either of the candidates, that the pledged delegates are still open. I think that you miss an opportunity to argue a reason why pledged delegates might change their minds about how they're voting. They might, for instance, decide on the basis of who the Republican opponent is going to be that another candidate is valuable, or that they might decide to change their vote if something were to happen. For example, if Bernie Sanders had a stroke or if Hillary Clinton got indicted. I mean, there could be all kinds of things that could come along, and I think those are not outside of the range of possibilities, and that might give you a strong reason to believe that they're going to change. The fact that they could change doesn't necessarily give us a great deal of confidence in the argument that you're presenting. So I think that you do an okay job confronting the advocate on the first point, which doesn't really advance your position, and you need to do a stronger job on the whole point so that the argument is relatively clear. All right, thank you.